Hello, and welcome to another episode of Shampoo and Booze. This is episode number 32 at shampooandbooze.com. What's going on, Jay?
Okay, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay, so I noticed that this summer I guess this is the second summer that we've rented our Airbnb.
Yes.
So we're in basically our second year of a rental. And I've noticed that this summer, our income from our Airbnb has given us a security and calm that I don't think we've ever had since we've kind of gone self-employed.
Right.
Because before this time, so in 2008, we realized we didn't want to work anymore for other people, right?
Right, mostly.
So we were taking on clients, kind of creative technical work.
Right.
Anyone that does that kind of work knows that can be very painful to have those kind of jobs.
Yes.
At the mercy of other people.
Right.
So we started selling on eBay.
Yeah.
Finding stuff, selling that stuff. But the thing is, for anyone that has sold online before, the summertime, like any retail, is really slow. And, in years past, we just, would just deal with that. It's make sure our expenses are low, have some money saved. But then that's why we started this Airbnb business, is to balance that out.
Yeah.
And this is the first summer I've really felt that, where our other business is slow, as it always is, but we have this money coming in. The summertime's the best time for Airbnb.
It's almost like I feel like we did not quite do that on purpose, but then we realized the seasons are kind of flipped.
True. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying we're a mastermind.
No, not at all.
And we kind of knew that, but we knew that starting an Airbnb business would give us extra income, and it just works out that our busiest time on Airbnb is our slowest time selling on eBay.
Right.
And then our slowest time on Airbnb in the wintertime is actually
holidays.
Our best time on eBay. So it's really perfect. But I guess it's just this summertime I've really felt that good blend.
Right.
And this is going to only be interesting for anyone out there who is self-employed. Mm-hmm. These are the things that you think about, because there's no paycheck coming at the end of every 2 weeks. It's whatever you figure out,
right.
And so it's nice that what we figured out has worked.
Yeah, it's working. I mean, sometimes bookings are slow, we'll talk about that later, but then sometimes eBay is slow, and you're just you just have to do the work to make it happen.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. Like you said, there's no paycheck. I go to work and I get paid. It's it's on you to make it happen.
Right. So at our rental, our farmhouse, it's rental, we had a great month for June.
Yeah, better than I thought we would.
Yeah, we had, a couple people rent during the week, it's minute rentals. So
I love the last minute renters.
So we got, I think, 20 nights it's rented in June, which is about what we want.
20 nights is our goal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Although July is so far the last part of the month, people haven't really booked, which is strange.
There's a big chunk of July during all weekends are booked. Summer weekends done easy. But it's those weekdays. But the beautiful thing is, in June, we had people do those last minute.
Yeah. They're
freelancers. They're I want to get out of the city. It's a lower price on the weekday. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Thank God.
But it's been good. It's just, we're in that mode of checking people in, cleaning the house,
Yeah.
Everything's cool. We're still looking for cleaners.
Yeah.
We haven't interviewed anybody else since the last time we talked.
We tried, but the schedule got moved.
But a listener actually, she sent us a suggestion that we contact event planners in our area.
Right.
Because, they would be the ones who would always be having cleaners help them.
Right.
Who they can trust, and just to see if that's who we want. Just someone it's reliable who will get to know our house.
And who isn't overbooked already.
Right.
That's part of it, is when people are yeah, we could do it, but we have a million other cabins to do.
And again, we actually like to clean the house, but I guess we're just wanting to make sure we have a backup, or at least have the ability to make that choice if there's a time where I don't want to clean it one weekend.
And we have someone to do it,
yeah,
who knows how to do it. Because I've noticed this recently with cleaning the farmhouse, is that I feel like maybe we've just had really clean renters. I'm not sure. Although some of them have been kind of like crazy, like the last one was a little bit crazy. I feel like we have it down where we're just like, we just do it. We've gotten it down to 2 hours. Like, it's 2 hours, it's done. It feels efficient, you know? I don't feel like last year where I really felt like, oh my God, people are going to be here at 3.
Sure.
Now I'm like, all right, they're here at 3.
Yeah.
It's noon. Let's do it.
Can't you remember the first time we ever had to clean that place? I mean, we had never... I mean, we don't... I mean, I hate to say this. We don't really clean our house very much.
Well, but I mean, think about it, too. Right, so we don't do it cleaning like the other house.
Like we... I mean, again, we don't do, like, deep cleans of our house. We just always are tidy. You know, we clean our dishes, we vacuum, but it's not like we do it... like we do the guest house, where you're like wiping everything, dusting.
Yeah.
Like,
and the crazy thing is, and also like you're changing out 3 bedrooms.
Yeah, right.
And cleaning 2 bathrooms.
Right.
Like at our house, we have 1 bedroom, 1 bed. You know, like you're not doing it every 2 days.
Right.
You know, but I think what I'm trying to say is that it's a good feeling that you're like, I know what my task is. I'm going to do it. I get it done. And it's done. You're not like frazzled and exhausted. I mean, you're tired, but it feels good to have the system down, you know, after a year.
I agree.
You know.
So something we did this past week is we recorded a conversation with a woman in California.
Yeah.
Trisha.
Yes.
She was super awesome.
Yeah, another Airbnb host.
She contacted us and we just started talking to her, and she's got an Airbnb out in California, and you know, we'll put that conversation up soon, and it's a great conversation. But she takes photographs at weddings.
Wedding photographer.
She sounds really awesome at what she does. But she said we should think about doing weddings on our property because, you know, people like to have country weddings.
Small.
Right.
Some people like to have small weddings.
We have 2 acres. We have a nice old farmhouse. And just, she really, you know, gave us some really good concrete ideas and things to research. And that's something we've been doing all week. And we actually started to do a research on what other wedding venues in our area are doing.
And yeah,
it's what they give people, what they charge. And we just tried to see where we could fit in. And it's very interesting because, I mean, we could be making like an extra $2,000 for a weekend.
Potentially, yeah. And so it's an interesting conversation because I remember when we first started talking about this, if anyone's listened to this podcast from the beginning, there were some certain times where people wanted to rent the house for the weekend, and they would mention, oh, and by the way, we're having a little party. It's our wedding. And we were like so freaked out, just like, no, we can't handle a wedding. Like, it's not something we want to do. We don't know anything about that. You know, we for me, I was just like, we're not doing that. That's not what we're doing. But talking to someone else who, you know, goes to weddings, you know, constantly and understands the infrastructure.
She gave us the boundaries.
Right.
Of what, because I mean, so the idea is that, I mean, we're not doing a wedding for people.
Like, I'm not a wedding planner.
Like, right.
Yeah.
Like, there's a wedding planner that does that. Right. What we are giving is the infrastructure, you know. And
the space.
Right, you know, and that's like, you know, and they have to rent bathrooms and, you know.
Tables and chairs and.
All of that. So it's an interesting, you know, it's an interesting idea. And so we're looking into, like, it's noise. You know, like when can people make noise until in our area before people can actually complain, you know?
Right, like how late at night, how loud, blah, blah, blah.
So it's interesting because, I mean, again, if we could even do 5 of those and make even, you know, $2,000-$3,000, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and one of our good friends in our town is a professional wedding planner. Right. So that is going to help us to have a conversation with her and be like, what is this world?
And so we're wondering if there's anyone out there that does run an Airbnb in a rural area, or I guess in an urban area too, but probably most likely in a rural area. And if you rent is your property in the Airbnb as a wedding thing.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is, I wonder then if you could just make a duplicate, a listing on Airbnb for the same space, but put that a listing in a different context.
Yeah.
So you get this house with, the wedding package, but then it's actually whatever, $3,000 for the
weekend.
A weekend,
And so obviously part of it would be accommodations. So that's the thing about Airbnb. You don't want to put something up that's not accommodations, but this is an accommodation package. Right. So I would love to hear from other people.
Yeah.
Are they doing that? Is it successful? Do they enjoy it? How much do they charge?
Right.
What do they provide? All those things.
It is very interesting. Okay, and then the second project we always talk about is this other rental we bought.
Yes.
That we're working on. The good news is the driveway has actually started.
Yes.
But it's been kind of slowed down because of rain.
Lots and lots of rain.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It will rain for 2 days, then it'll be dry, but then it will rain again. And the problem is it's on the side of a hill, and our excavator, has its machine. It's got to be dry, or else he's going to be slipping down this hill. So it's been very slow. But we're going to post some photos where you can kind of see how they've begun cutting down some junky trees and just kind of start creating the space. What was interesting was that he actually called us, or we met with him twice
before he started.
Right before he started. I think it's one of those things, and we do the same thing. We'll say yes to a job,
right?
Like someone, it's video work done, and it will say, yeah, sure, we'll do it. Then as it gets closer to the project
the details,
time, we start thinking, wait a second.
How is this going to...
What about this? Wait, what about the, like once you start, and so that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
And he's like...
but not in a bad way, not like this is impossible. He's I'm thinking through it.
I'm glad he was doing this. And, he's thinking of things that I don't know the answers to. He was worried about how steep certain areas would be, how water would drain,
which is what we want,
how it would look. So he actually called us out there twice to talk it through, and so it's great. It really, for anyone that's hearing this that does any kind of contracting work, like building work,
right?
It really is an art form.
Oh, absolutely. So you have to be so skilled, and that's the thing with this project is you can get frustrated about the delays and how long it's taking, and he's calling us out there twice. It's 10 miles away, but I'm just I much prefer that than someone who's just just go, just whatever. I want him to consult us. What about this?
So if you weren't there that a second time,
no.
But this guy, he's early 60s.
Yeah,
I think he seems a little older, but he's in his early 60s. I love him. He told me look, I like to be able to imagine the whole project, even to how it ends and how it looks. Yep. And I don't like to start till I know all of that, because he's like, if I start jumping on its machine and start tearing stuff up, I'm going to get myself caught in a corner that I haven't thought my way through.
Right.
And so I'm just that's exactly what we do on our projects,
You think all the way. I mean, in a way, it's as a freelancer, it's stressful because you have to think all the way to the end.
Yeah.
You're we have to do this, but in order to get there, we have to do these.
And every time, he's it's one of these guys, he lives in the country. He was born and raised in this small county. He doesn't know about computers. And so he doesn't always know what we do for a living, you know. And I try and tell him, we do the exact same thing, where we're just taking, there is a nothing, and then we're having to build something out of it, and that's what he's doing. It's just, you're doing with mud and dirt and rock, and we're doing with, a video. And
I think you told him that, right? And because at one time he was just what do you guys do? Because it's hard to understand when you're not into technology. It's like...
It's the same thing.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Anyway, something else. So right now we're actually in Washington, D.C., staying at our friend's house, doing some dog sitting.
Dog sitters.
And so one thing we love to do when we're hanging out at people's houses is we like to watch TV.
Yes, when we don't have cable. We do watch a lot of internet TV, Netflix, stuff like that, Amazon, whatever.
We're cord cutters.
We're cord cutters. But when we are in a place that has cable...
Like a hotel.
Or our friends have cable, I'm like obsessed with watching HGTV.
It is such a...
it is like a drug. It's a guilty pleasure.
Yeah. So, it's watching... HGTV is a total guilty pleasure.
Right.
And they know exactly it's what they're doing. They'll start playing a show like Flip or Flop.
Okay.
And they're just like this. It's just like one giant 8-hour show.
I mean, they just play like, okay, it's 3:30 in the afternoon. I swear that show's been on since like 7 o'clock this morning. And we haven't been watching it that whole time.
And we probably watched about 3 hours.
We watched like lots.
But anyway, it's an interesting. It's those kind of shows are interesting because they're just showing, you know, whether the best way they can, I guess, how it is to redo houses, see their choices, and it's just
and the money and the budget and the problems.
I enjoy that.
I mean it's like that with Grand Designs. Now, Grand Designs is different, but the reason we like to watch those shows, they're super entertaining, number one. But for us, like, it's important for me to see these things because I like to see how much they spend, and then I don't feel so bad.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean? It's good to see that they'll spend $50,000 to $100,000 to have to, like... They take these junky houses. Yeah. They gut them. You know, they're redoing driveways and electric and plumbing. It's just right. And that's just what it takes.
Like the last one we just watched, they redid a backyard. Like they made this amazing backyard, amazing deck and everything. $30,000 just for the backyard. I'm like, okay, I don't feel so bad.
That's sometimes what you have to do. Right.
And so you're like, okay, and they made a good choice because it's amazing.
Yep.
So it makes me feel like we're not crazy people,
So this week I saw a couple articles online that I will link to on the blog. Maybe those of you have seen this already. One was interesting because they said baby boomers are big growth of hosts for Airbnb and other its rental sites because of two things. Number one is a lot of baby boomers now have a lot of time.
Yes, they're retiring.
Their kids are gone, they're retired. And number two, because they now have a huge asset, their house.
Right.
Which they don't really need all of it. Right. So, they were interviewing, they mainly said that it's women doing this. Right. Which makes sense. Yeah. Because, I don't know, it's women may have a dream of having it's like a B&B.
Yeah.
But they want to actually buy a B&B, so they're having it's multicultural people coming to stay in their house. Right. And there's a bit of hosting happening.
Yeah, exactly. That interactivity and hospitality.
Yeah, because baby boomers lucked out just by their birth to grow up in a time where they were able to buy houses in really awesome places,
For cheap.
Like people that bought houses like in Boston or in
LA,
New York. And so they're sitting on these awesome properties right where everyone wants to be.
Yeah.
Great,
Lucky people.
The other article was just about what it is like to host on Airbnb. I guess they had a writer kind of experience it. And basically the takeaway, it was this, and again, I'll link to it on the blog, is that Airbnb and these other businesses, it's not a rental business. Right. It's a hospitality business. Yes. And that's what she had talked about was that, she experienced wait a second, I started realizing people were complaining about things, expected things. Right. I started getting nervous about people being angry at how things were set up, and I started becoming really worried about making sure things are nice, and that is totally
That's
true.
hospitality.
Yeah.
I mean, that's more like running a hotel than having like a year-long renter in your house. They're two totally different things. You're not just like, here's a shell of a house, do whatever you want, put any furniture you want, have any kitchen you want. It's like you are creating a space for people and an experience.
And it was interesting to read that, because sometimes I think, like, we're like kind of the obsessive people, and maybe we think about this stuff too much, but we seem to put a lot of effort into making sure things are nice, because I get worried about, I don't want anyone to complain about anything.
Yeah.
Like, that's the worst thing that could happen. Right. I wonder if there are people out there that rent on Airbnb is just like, I don't want to say that they don't care, but they like create a neutral space. Yeah. Clean. It's nothing special, and that's good enough. I wonder if that's...
we've experienced that as renters, on the other side. But it's like that on eBay, too. Yeah. I mean, there are people who are just like I bought some things in the last couple weeks where I had to correspond with the person. Hey, what do you have a tracking number? Do you have it? Then I'll get back to you. Oh, this will be sent out next week. You're just like, dude, come on. Like, let's step it up a little bit. Like, I'm paying you money for this thing. Yeah. And so I feel like they're just different levels, because I feel that way too sometimes, where I'm like, are we like taking this way too far? Like the lamp must be in this position. It cannot be turned. It must be dusted like a robot, Yeah. But then again, people notice it. I mean, people notice it. They do. Yeah. And so that makes me feel better. When we get a review, that makes me feel better. Yeah. Then I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy. And like spending all my time and effort, like, well, is there enough hand soap?
I think the way I think about it for us specifically is just like, this is what we do. I mean, this isn't like...
it's a job.
This isn't like an extra... little side thing. Like, this is a major part of our income, right? And we've really gambled, we've invested, we've rolled the dice, Ryan. Okay. And
it's true.
So it just has to pay off for us,
right? And it can't be half-assed. Right. It can't be lazy.
Yeah. Yep.
So
I agree.
There are times where I get really tired, where I'm like, stop obsessing over the freaking pillow. The pillow looks good, right. Or like the towel's crooked. It's just like,
Well, I think that's also part of us just being still kind of new to this, and you don't really know where the boundaries are. Yeah. And it's like you said about this year, we've gotten faster and better at cleaning. Things just start to become more expected and more, right. We know what to expect, what people expect, and then it's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, just some numbers. So we like to judge our success based on how many nights we rent in this year, in 2016. There are 365 nights. Right. We have rented 164 of those nights, either in the past or the future, but that's how many we have booked.
The goal is 200 nights.
Now we have only booked 2 nights since we last talked.
Yeah.
And that was a weekend in July. Now, part of that is we have a lot of future bookings already. Like August, we've already booked 23 nights.
Right.
So August is almost completely booked. July, we definitely need, I'd like to book another 10 nights.
Yeah, I would
Cross my fingers.
There's a chunk of July that I'm like, come on, July.
But, so we have 36 more nights that I would like to have booked. For 2016, and we still have much of September, much of October, almost all of November, December. All of December.
And so I think we're going to do bookings last year then. I mean, It's not like we're like, summer's over, it's dead. That's not true at all. Right. So that's good. And again, people on Airbnb book last minute. They're from the city, they're looking on the map, they're looking at their dates, and they book.
And again, the people hearing this, I'm sure it's different whether you have an urban place or a rural place. I bet if you're in an urban place, it's just like, I bet stuff is just
booked. All the time. You're booked all the time.
As soon as you open up those dates, people are booking, and that's really awesome. For those of us who live in more of like a vacation area, it's almost like people book for March because that's when spring break is, and they want a place to go after it's winter time. Then there's a big rush to book for the summertime. Yeah. And then it's kind of quiet. And then suddenly people book for the fall. Yeah. You know, and so it kind of comes in waves instead of like a steady, or at least it does in our case. It does for us,
that we've noticed so far.
Okay, this is our favorite part. And this was a really good week for us.
This was several people left things because we had several turnovers.
So sometimes we like to always see what renters leave behind.
And they leave stuff.
Hence the name of our podcast.
Shampoo and booze. That's what people leave behind the most. Well, although I think now we need to change it to like butter and booze because like people left behind a lot of butter.
So we love it when people leave food behind. I almost want to leave them a note saying,
just leave.
We don't mind. Leave any food behind.
It just sounds crazy though. Yeah. Like weird people.
Okay. So butter, sausage, a whole
Jimmy Dean sausage,
thing of sausage. I would never eat.
I would never buy that because I'd eat it too much.
Jar of pickles, a whole dozen eggs.
Yeah, thank you.
So great. And then actually its renter actually left a bottle of homebrew beer. Yeah. Specifically as like a gift.
Yeah, that was...
How was it?
It was delicious.
And it was with like raspberry...
It was called like... It was sour cherry white beer. Whatever, it was so good. I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Some others, it left 4 Bud Lights.
I'm not complaining about 4 Bud Lights. I'll tell you that much.
Go. A big old block of cheese, which is great. Yep. Ranch dressing.
My favorite ranch dressing. Fancy hair conditioner. I was like,
and just real quick, anytime someone leaves behind like a thing of blue cheese or ranch, it becomes the thing that Ryan eats everything with. Every meal, she has it out, and
I'm like dipping everything in it.
And so it's so interesting. I bet people are thinking like, well, why don't you guys just
buy the?
You guys like them, but here's the answer: it tastes better because it's free.
Look, we buy ranch dressing. There's ranch dressing in my pantry.
It tastes better when it's a free thing.
But they opened it and ate half of it, so I'm just finishing it
because again, we're scavengers at the end of the day.
Well, someone else left like a big old blanket.
Yep. So someone left a microfiber blanket.
Usually you hate microfiber.
That I strangely really like.
And you know what's funny? I used it...
Because it's real soft, you know?
That's the whole point. I used it as like a tarp on the back of the truck when we were driving the linens home. And I was just like, whatever, we'll just use it as a tarp or what I like. Because I was like, you hate microfiber. And then we washed it and you were like, I love it.
Because you know what? The temperature right now is... Because we don't have AC in our house. So it's like in the evening times it's cool enough where... I don't need like a big blanket. It's so nice.
It's just soft.
It's great.
Go for it. You can use it.
Yep.
Okay, so we do not have any calls. We do have an email that got sent through the comments, actually. But you can always call our voicemail line to leave a question or a comment. The number is 540-407-8486.
And we do like to hear from people.
I love to hear from people.
And mainly because the whole point of this is like just trying to share experiences and tips the best we can. Okay, so as Leslie sent us a question.
Yes.
And it's not for us, it's for you. Yes. She says, so this question is for those of you out there that own a rental properties far away from your home. Mm-hmm. Her question is, do you find it profitable? Is it easy to manage? And how often do you have to physically check on it? Because that's, an added cost too.
Yeah, to get there.
Period. So I guess the question is, people that live in one place, but they have this property
elsewhere, another state.
A state or on the other side of the state.
Right.
I mean, I guess I'm going to imagine what people might say. Number one is, people owned it and lived there, and then they met a husband or wife, or they moved jobs.
Right.
Like Anna,
Yes. Anna they lived in Colorado. They lived in a condo in Colorado. They moved.
I don't think they actually lived there. They bought it.
Oh, it was a second home in Colorado.
Right. And that's actually my kind of other answer would be number one is they moved, so it was near their home. But the other thing is it was a vacation house, or is a vacation house. It's for them, and why have a vacation house just empty
when you can rent it?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and
exactly.
And that is true. That's crazy that people might have a vacation house that they might only use
a couple
6 weeks out of the year, and then it's just empty the rest of the time. Why not rent it out, you know?
And, part of it is obviously we're saying it's more expensive, or it's less profitable maybe because you have to pay someone to manage it. Right. Or you manage it and you have a cleaner and you coordinate with them. But the people that we've heard, that we've talked to, have done well with it, surprisingly.
Your mom is now in that it's like the stage of a butterfly or something. She's in that stage now where they live up on it's northeast of America.
Yeah.
They have a really nice home.
Yeah.
But now they're going to go and live in Florida during the winter time, like snowbirds. And so she's been talking about, it's renting her home during the
winter.
But
that's like a long-term rental or like a whatever.
I thought she had talked about doing it on
Airbnb. I just don't know how. I don't know if that's allowed in her little condo association.
Right. Gotcha.
It's not down in Florida. She's not allowed to do that.
Gotcha.
Or it has to be a week at a time. Gotcha. There's restrictions. But
maybe one of these days we'll actually interview
we need to convince her.
Jenna, you guys can actually get to meet Ryan's mom.
We have to convince her to do it somehow. I don't know how she would do it, but she could figure it out.
So anyway, that's a question that Leslie has for anyone out there that rents on Airbnb a property that is far away from them.
Yes.
And is it just to cover costs, or are you actually making a profitable business?
It's a good question. Okay, that's it for this week. You can check out the blog at shampooandbooze.com for the links we discuss and to join the conversation. You can also join the conversation by leaving a question or a comment on our voicemail line. It's 540-407-8486. We post an episode every Monday morning. You can subscribe to us through iTunes or YouTube so you always get the latest episode. You can also listen to our other podcast where we talk about how we sell stuff that we scavenge to fund our renovations. And that's at scavengerlife.com. Okay, bye.
See ya.